What up, cuckolds? It's your boy, the hater. And I'm a little bit sick. Sick and tired of what's happening in wrestling. All right, I watched a little bit of SmackDown. I honestly couldn't get past it. If I had a choice of watching the segment between Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, and CM Punk again, or being punted in the balls by Randy Orton, I think I would choose the latter. This was my least favorite segment of all time. The amount of horse shit that was involved in this segment is one for the ages. So that's what we're going to talk about today. The worst segment in the history of wrestling, the worst contract signing in the history of wrestling, and of course, the worst quote-unquote main event in the history of wrestling. Well, you know, the worst WrestleMania main event in the history of wrestling. We're going to tackle all those topics right now, point by point, cuckolds. Now, the first thing that must be understood, obviously, is that this is not a real WrestleMania main event, right? This is the night one main event. If this thing somehow closes night two, that would be like flabbergasting. This is the night one main event, if we're being honest, and therefore it doesn't count as a real main event. Because this entire segment and storyline is predicated on it being a main event, therefore, this already is the worst segment of all time. But that's not it. We got so much more to say. Number one, first of all, the segment took about 20 minutes. Roman Reigns comes out, his theme song plays for 5. Then you hear the dumbass fans chanting for Roman Reigns loudly while he just sits there like an idiot, right? In the past, this didn't happen. Wrestlers had things to say and worked with the crowd. This time, Paul Heyman starts singing along with the audience. This is stupid and it is inexcusable. Now, after this, Roman Reigns starts talking about how great he is, right? Good stuff if you look at it in a vacuum. But why is he all smiley and goofy? First of all, he's all twitchy and weird. You know, like he's trying to portray a confident guy, but in reality, you can tell he's like uncomfortable with his role. Number one. Two, from the perspective of kayfabe, this makes absolutely no sense. CM Punk and Seth Rollins are correctly, according to Roman Reigns, being elevated by Roman Reigns. But what about the fact that Roman Reigns is being demoted? You know, he used to be the WWE champion, and now he's just happy being there. So what's the difference between him and Sami Zayn? They're both just happy to be there, oos. Anyways, Seth Rollins comes out, and he's the only one in this feud, or in this scenario, if you will, that actually makes any sense. Seth Rollins basically says, look, you know, it's your fault, Roman, for letting CM Punk, like, into the garden, you know what I mean? Because he's a snake, etc., etc. So his issue is with both Roman Reigns and CM Punk. He has a personal vendetta against them. It's really not clear why Seth Rollins doesn't like these guys. Like, these are things that have never been explained. You know, with the Roman Reigns stuff, it's just like Roman Reigns asked him to be part of War Games. He said no, but for some reason, he also got pissed off. You know, like, it's really weird. Like, they were on pretty decent terms otherwise. You know, he was, like, friends with Jey Uso and stuff. He forgave Jey Uso, so why can't he forgive Roman Reigns? Anyways, there's that. But then he's also mad at CM Punk for no reason. That's never been explained. He just doesn't like him. You know? Fine. That's whatever. Who cares? Then CM Punk comes out, and he starts reading through the contract. And in the contract, CM Punk is looking for a section that basically suggests that he's going to be in the main event. Paul Heyman kisses him on the cheek and says, you made it, kid. You're going to be in the main event. You're going to close WrestleMania. And CM Punk starts crying. Now, let's pause for a second. I want to reiterate that we're talking about night one of Mania. So therefore, it doesn't count. But even if we live in a world where main eventing night one counts, that doesn't matter at all. Even if we're talking about night two, or if there's only one night of WrestleMania and this was the main event, that doesn't matter either. The implications, right? And this is why people don't understand these things. The implications of main eventing WrestleMania are not only that you get to close the show. That's the consequence. The implications are that you have earned the right to close the show. The implications are that you are the main attraction here. Not that you're being forced into the main event, because storyline demands it. The reality is that this match is not a WrestleMania worthy match at all, number one. Two, it is not for anything. There's no stakes for this match. This is just a match that's happening. Now, some people might be excited about that, but personally, the hater finds it to be unacceptable. We'll talk about that a little bit more when we talk about the match itself. But the setup for the match, which centers around the idea that it's a WrestleMania main event, the premise is flawed. CM Punk starts crying, but in my opinion, just judging from the logic of the CM Punk character and the kayfabe of the moment, right? There is nothing to be proud of here. CM Punk being proud that he gets the main event in WrestleMania is not appropriate. He didn't do anything to earn it. Like, he lost the Chamber, he lost the Rumble, and he's still going to main event WrestleMania. This doesn't make any sense. Why are you even having the Rumble and the Chamber to begin with? The entire philosophy of the Rumble, which I know has been discarded a long time ago, is that the winner of the Rumble main events WrestleMania. Obviously, through a title match. This was the logical conclusion back in the day when the Rumble was one Rumble and there was one world title. So, of course, the world title is going to close WrestleMania if there's only one world title, right? Nowadays, we have like 15 world titles. We have the NXT world titles, and we have the Raw and SmackDown world titles for men and women. So any one of those could viably main event. We also have the possibility, like last year, that the night one main event is a prelude to night two, And we also have the possibility of a random ass thing happening, and that becomes the night one main event. Now, the same way that Kevin Owens versus Stone Cold doesn't count as a real WrestleMania main event, this doesn't either, right? The WrestleMania main event between Owens and Stone Cold, first of all, was an impromptu match. It wasn't a match that was like, built up at all, right? Nobody went to WrestleMania hoping that would happen, at least in kayfabe, because it wasn't an announced match. So, similarly, this match also is a match that has had no build-up. The build-up is just they don't like each other, and for some reason, this merits a WrestleMania main event. This means, like assuming, unless we're all retarded, that the night two main event is going to be Cucky versus Cena, that means that the Royal Rumble had absolutely no bearing at all on the main event of WrestleMania. I think this is the first time, basically, where this has happened, right? Where one way or another, either the Royal Rumble or the Elimination Chamber have been the thing that leads to the main event. But the Royal Rumble has always been something that is taken seriously, especially in the two Royal Rumble era with the Women's Rumble, right? One of the Rumble winners should be in one of the main events. But fine, I get it. The Royal Rumble is now the mid-card Rumble. It is what it is. I don't care. I'm not saying Jey Uso should close, right? But at least give it to like Charlotte or something, Have the Rumble mean something. Anyways, that's just a mini rant. The fact of the matter is, CM Punk has done nothing to deserve it. And Seth Rollins points this out. Rollins says, like, wait a second, he doesn't deserve it. He didn't do anything to earn it. This is a completely valid point. Like, a completely valid point. CM Punk, basically, after he beat Drew McIntyre, he's gone on to lose everything else that he's done. And with that being said, if all he's done is lose everything that he's done, what is the justification that he should be in the main event? Again, conceding that this is not a real main event, but nevertheless, what is the justification, right? What is it that makes this match reasonable as a main event? I would argue that the presence of CM Punk and Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, really, who have done absolutely nothing for the last 3 months combined, this suggests that this match shouldn't be a main event match. But here we are. Fine, they did it. If you're going to make it an artificial main event match, at least have the foresight, at least be intelligent enough to understand that even if you're going to make this a main event match, don't talk about it being a main event match before it happens. Because then the implications are that these three people deserve it more than everybody else. So CM Punk, both in real life and in kayfabe, has become everything he hated, right? He's someone that is stealing someone's spot. He's stealing the spot of Charlotte Flair, the spot of Jey Uso, and arguably the spot of their opponents, Gunther and whoever, and Tiffany Stratton, right? These are people that have a reason to be in the main event. They're either Royal Rumble winners, right? or they're world champions. And then in addition, you also have the other people like Io Sky, you know, Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, who are the other championship match. So none of these three matches are going to be in the main event, and it's going to just be some boring ass triple threat match for no reason. That brings me to the second part of the analysis, the match. The match is stupid. There is no purpose as to why this match is happening. There is no reason why this match deserves a contract signing, right? This is no different than like Adam Pearce going on Raw and saying next week it's going to be Tozawa versus Karrion Kross. We don't need a contract signing for that. Why do we need one for this one? There's nothing on the line. There's absolutely nothing on the line. So what is the contract being signed for? Contracts, conceptually, in wrestling, have a purpose and a meaning. Number one, the contract stipulates some sort of stipulation. Like this will be a Hell in a Cell match, or, you know, a no-holds-barred match, or whatever. Like these people can't interfere. Something like that. Two, contracts are in place when there is something at stake. You understand? There's nothing at stake here. This is just a match. This is just a match. And three, contracts are used in storyline purposes because the people that are involved in the contract signing have a possibility of beating each other up during the contract signing. The logical flow is as follows. Let's say you have, I don't know, Triple H and Stone Cold signing a contract, right? Triple H has been beating Stone Cold's ass. He's responsible for running him over. So now the idea is, will Stone Cold hold it together at the contract signing? Or will Stone Cold lose his mind and attack Triple H? That's what we're watching the contract signing for. But somewhere down the line, probably because of Lee Fitting and Triple H don't realize this. They really think that the contract signing is about signing a contract. Because nowadays, contract signings literally are just signing a contract. It's the most boring thing ever. So boring, in fact, that there's a part in this segment where CM Punk is reading through the contract and Roman Reigns says, "We're on TV, hurry up, Junior." He's 100% right. Like the people don't want to watch a contract signing on TV. That's the most boring thing ever. Then, to make matters even worse, with respect to the match itself, Roman Reigns correctly explains to Seth Rollins and CM Punk that this is a main event match only because of Roman Reigns. This is as true as it gets. Roman Reigns is elevating these two mid-carders to the main event. That's exactly what's happening. This can be evidenced by the fact that CM Punk versus Seth Rollins wouldn't even main event like a Bad Blood. That wouldn't even main event like a Raw, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that's like a match on the level of like Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. It might, on a good day, main event Raw, if Roman Reigns isn't around, right? So he's elevating them. Now, on the other side of the coin, Seth Rollins, who has, according to the new standards, main evented WrestleMania because he main evented last year in night one. I don't even know how that could count as a main event last year, because last year it was like part one of a two-part match, basically. You know, he wasn't involved in part two as a participant in the match. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Seth Rollins, being that he's only main evented one time, he should be excited that he's main eventing a second time. His problem now is, oh, wait a second, if this is a main event match, I'm upset because CM Punk now becomes a main eventer. And this is the short-sightedness of WWE's writing, right? Seth Rollins, for the last several months, has pretty much shifted his attention, if you will, not his character, because it's the same effeminate Seth Rollins, but he's shifted his attention to kind of like ruining it for CM Punk. That's kind of like his thing, right? He doesn't want CM Punk to win or to become a WWE WrestleMania main eventer. And he has successfully done so, right? He got rid of CM Punk. Partially, it was his fault that Punk got eliminated at the Rumble. And he also screwed him over at the Chamber. Only to find out that none of this mattered at all because CM Punk can just be made into a main eventer for no reason. Think about what's happening here, motherfuckers. This is literally a forced main eventing. This makes, by far, CM Punk is the worst WWE main eventer of all time. He has done nothing to deserve it in kayfabe or in reality. He's done nothing to deserve it. Yet here we are. Now, with all that being said, we still have to consider a bunch of other things. CM Punk has a favor that's owed to him. I couldn't give a fuck as to what the favor is. At this point, this main event of WrestleMania, which will be the worst main event of all time, is already over. It doesn't matter. The points of the match have already been resolved, right? The first consideration is, will CM Punk become a main eventer? The answer is yes, apparently. The second consideration is, will Seth Rollins prevent him from being a main eventer? The answer is unfortunately no, because the match has been set. And the third consideration is, where does Roman Reigns fit into this? The answer to that is nobody knows and nobody cares. So there you have it, right? There you have it. Why would we want to watch this match now? Does it matter at all who wins this match? No, it doesn't. It makes no difference whatsoever if CM Punk wins, or if Seth Rollins wins, or if Roman Reigns wins. None of them are going to show up and say anything different the next night on Raw. Most of them are probably not even going to show up at all the next night on Raw. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. The point is, everything that this match is supposed to answer has been answered. So why the fuck do I care about the favor? Who cares what happens afterwards? CM Punk's dream has come true. It's completely unearned. It's completely unmerited, but it has come true. That's it. Match over, motherfucks. Why are we even having the match? The only way that this match can be salvaged, I mean, I don't even think it can be salvaged, but, even remotely, is if the obvious thing that I think is going to happen is, Paul Heyman is going to side with Seth Rollins. That's the only thing that makes sense here. I know it seems like it's coming out of left field, but think about it. Why the fuck is Seth Rollins in this match? Why not just have Roman Reigns versus CM Punk? Why do we need Seth Rollins? It's going to be because Seth Rollins is going to have some sort of role to play here. You could have just had Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul. Could have been an excellent match. That would have been better than having him inserted here. There's a reason why this is happening, and in my opinion, it's because basically Paul Heyman is going to screw both CM Punk and Roman, and he's going to side with Seth Rollins, presenting him as the future, saying that Roman Reigns is unmotivated and CM Punk basically sucks and is old, right? That's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that makes sense, and that's the only thing that could make Seth Rollins fun again or relevant again. I don't think it's going to work, but I think that's where they're going, right? That'd be very weird because that's a weird way to close WrestleMania. But anyways, whatever, who cares? The point is that this match has no purpose of existing. Nobody benefits from being in this match. Roman Reigns has no interest in being WWE champion. He's perfectly happy sitting in a chair, smiling like an idiot, and basically saying, I don't care about the WWE title anymore. I'm content wrestling CM Punk and Seth Rollins, Seth Rollins is basically retarded. He's more concerned with CM Punk not main eventing WrestleMania rather than the fact that he will not be main eventing WrestleMania. And maybe this year he'll win. The fuck knows? That's what I'm going to predict, that Seth Rollins wins. I don't see a scenario where Roman Reigns wins. So it's either Seth or CM Punk. But it could be Roman too, I guess. I mean, who cares, right? That's the only potential positive of this match, is that we don't know how it's gonna end. But who cares, right? It doesn't matter. The ending of a match matters only in the context of that match having some consequence. If the match has no consequence, then who the fuck cares? Just let it be, motherfucks. And that's what's happening. This segment was garbage. This storyline is garbage. This WrestleMania main event is garbage. I'm probably not gonna watch the main event. There's a possibility that, we have a situation where, let's say the match before this is Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte, or Bianca Belair versus Rhea versus Io Sky. Or imagine if it's those two and then this match. I might stop 3 matches short of WrestleMania. I have no interest in any of these matches, including this one. And that's just the facts, cucks. I'll probably do it for the people so I can review it, but you understand what I'm getting at here. The fact of the matter is, cuckwads, this is really dumb. And honestly, while sometimes you can tolerate a non-title or no consequence main event at WrestleMania, this is the most inconsequential one. There are some WrestleMania matches, for example, Hogan versus Rock. That should have been the main event. That had no consequences, right? It was just Hogan versus The Rock. It's just cool because the people involved are awesome, right? We have the number 1 guy of all time, Hulk Hogan, and The Rock, the number 2 guy, arguably, of all time. In this one, we have a bunch of mid-carders, and basically the entire point is CM Punk is in his late 40s, and he finally gets the main event WrestleMania. So he's not a big deal. Rock and Hogan have main evented 12 WrestleManias together, And even that match was not the main event. They put Jericho and Triple H in there, you know, with the logic of like Jericho and Triple H at least are wrestling for the undisputed world title. Then we've had other matches that could have or have main event at WrestleMania, like Taker versus Shawn Michaels, Taker versus fucking, what's it called? Taker versus, I think Roman Reigns. I'm not sure if that main evented, but you know, some Taker matches basically, right? And all of those have involved some sort of retirement or some sort of big deal scenario, right? So for example, Taker versus Shawn Michaels, it's Shawn Michaels' last match, right? Taker versus AJ Styles, a night one main event. It's Undertaker's last real match. So there you have it. Now, again, the only saving grace here is that this is not a real main event because it's a night oneer. And we don't count night one, so there you have it, cucks. And with that being said, take care of yourselves and go fuck your mothers.